Hello, hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I damn it, Sean left.
I know. I was like, oh,
my
oh.
teammate. Let me give you some shit before you leave.
We would have had two American Worlds American teammates together. Like that would have been pretty sweet.
Yep.
Just like
Awesome.
yeah.
Good. Well, how you feeling, man? And you've been up for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I did sleep for 3 hours. So like the trick to doing these now has become that I secretly sleep. Except this time it wasn't so secret. I was like I told everyone like I'm going to bed at like 4 a.m. for a couple hours and coming back. So this
Yeah.
the backdrops y'all like have rolled in here with is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like absolutely
Thank you.
fantastic. So just real quick, I gotta do the pluggy stuff. So welcome everyone. We're to the In Your Phase portion. In Your Phase, we're going to be delivering a podcast. So you went to do a podcast right now, and they're like, hang on, before you're done with your turn. In Your Phase, I'm going to deliver my podcast. So that's what's happening right now. Showed up. Like, hang on, I'm going to spend a command ability or command point, and I'm going to go ahead and do this
Hold
real
on.
quick. Just one second.
Hold up. Your action first.
Yeah. So in your phase, last time I promised you competitive chat with these folks because there's some we've got the what is it, the French overlord, the French tyrant.
Sure, you can call me whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanna. The French overlord was just people would call me in the Pacific Northwest because they were like to describe. They would be like Jeremy who, and my last name would be too hard to pronounce, and they'd just be the French guy, the French overlord.
The French one.
Like that guy,
Yeah.
that piece of shit guy.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So yeah, joining us, we're gonna talk. I want to talk about some 3.0 with y'all. Like I haven't really touched base. I haven't been watching your bat reps. I know you do some bat reps live on Twitch. You export them to YouTube. Like really kind of like the media presence and stuff. I've been out of touch. I haven't talked to you guys in a bit, so I want to do that. But first, I want to mention, hey, everyone tuning in. Welcome. If you're just now showing up, if you're hanging out here and you haven't heard yet, we're collecting money for Mental Health America. If you can donate. $5 will get you entered to win a full print to order sort of terrain set, a full table worth of terrain from CrazyHorse here in the chat. If you look in the Tiltify link, you can actually see the prize that you'll be selecting for this block. It says the list of terrain types available, but Anthony's already communicated to me. He's willing to like talk with the winner about what your table of terrain might look like, and so you can win a full full table of terrain, which I think is pretty sweet for a prize. And if you donate that $5, boom, you're in. One chance. You're encouraged to donate more. You don't have to. One entry per person. If you donate $50 throughout this whole stream, you've been donating throughout the whole thing. You are entered to win the grand prize behind me, which is a Soulblight Gravelord's Army, just shy of 3,000 points. So welcome to the So there you go. That's the spiel. Again, if you can donate, sweet. If you can't, signal boost. And if you don't feel like signal boosting, just hang out, have fun. Honestly, we're just gonna talk about Warhammer.
Hell yeah.
Whew, there it is.
Specific Age of Sigmar.
What was that?
The better game.
Yeah, the better game.
It's
The
a
better
specific age. Just say the better game.
Yeah, the better game.
Seriously. Oh boy.
No, for context, for the people who don't know us, we play a lot more than Age of Sigmar. We just only play mostly Age of Sigmar nowadays. 2.0
Every
is
time
better. 3.0 is better.
Every time I play like at least 2 games in a row, maybe 3 games in a row of 40k, I'm like, okay, I'm done for a while. Like,
don't you just enjoy the mechanic of front loading all of your one-off gimmicks and then basically finding out the game's over by turn 3 potentially? Isn't that fun?
I don't. For the record, I like to conserve and like budget my CP. You spend all of your command points in 2 turns, and if it doesn't work, you lose the game. And if it does work, I lose the game in 20 minutes. And it's like, this is the way the game goes.
Yeah, you need to stop playing 40k like it's Age of Sigmar. It's the
Yeah,
problem.
seriously. Oh, it was a good prep. It was good prep work for 3.0. I would say. I'm really a fan, and I'm loving the army that you have as that grand prize there. That's huge. 3,000 points of Soul Blight is awesome.
It's shy of. I don't want to false advertise here. I think it's like 280 or 2,800, 2,700, somewhere in there. It's 3 boxes of skeletons. I'll always pronounce it that way. Don't at me. 2 boxes of Deadwalkers, 2 boxes of Direwolves, the coveted box of Fellbats. They're freaking gone everywhere I look.
Yeah.
A set of Graveguard, a start collecting box. With the cool white
skeleton
king.
one with the
yeah, like it's. I mean, you might you're gonna use the 10 Graveguard, and this is gonna be a beautiful model that you paint. And maybe if you got you're just gonna put in another sweet vampire. Honestly, like. It's about as good.
Yeah.
I
have to say though.
Yeah.
The 3,000 points is what you bought because everybody should take a try on.
Yeah.
It's always 3,000.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It is 3,000 points because you're always gonna have a triumph. Yeah. So if you play at 3,000 points, you've got a 3,000 point army here because you always win the triumph. There you go. Boom. We got Radiker the Based, or Chadiker the Based, Necromancer.
Chadiker the Based.
Yeah. Vampire Lord, and then you got Lady Annika and Kritza. So just like the full Monty, pretty much a full spread of everything that's new or tried and true with the Graveguard. I'm going to start it off the bat. Both of you are like highly competitive players. Both of you have a read. There's a contention. I want you right now. You're going to settle the debate on Graveguard, whether they're good or not, provided you answer the way I want you to answer. Are Graveguard good? And why are they good?
They're fantastic.
They're the best.
They're
the best.
Here's the thing. There's context to this story too. Because when Soul Blight Gravelords first came out, I was like, holy fuck, Blood Knights. And Jeremy was like, no, Alex, Graveguard. And I'm like, nope, Blood Knights. And I was like, I'm gonna have maybe 20 Graveguard and then 5 Blood Knights. And I was like, okay. I played a few games. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do 40 Graveguard and 5 Blood Knights. And then I kept on playing, and I was like, we're just gonna do 40 Graveguard and other stuff. Like, very slowly, I was like, oh wow, huh?
Yeah.
Like things would happen that I wouldn't have expected to happen because Graveguard are just great.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, we're keeping them.
Graveguard are one of those, like, the more things change, the more things they stay the same. When I first got into Age of Sigmar, it was like just right before LON Battletome dropped, right? And I was playing my practice games with like the classic strategy of like Direwolf fanned out. My Direwolves were still on the rectangular basis because I bought them from somebody, the old crappy ones, and they were already painted. And so I was practicing the strategy of you fan them out, Tokyo drift them, people charge them, and then Graveguard through this charge through the coherency and just punish whatever's on the other side, right? And it's like we've come full circle back around to kind of doing that, which is hilarious to me personally. You don't charge through the coherency of like wolves anymore, but like it's still the like take the that counter charge, counter punch, like just if you can deliver them by rallying towards the enemy, popping them out of gravesite, and just doing shenanigans, you can smash. But like it's great.
That is the one power of Graveguards in most games is the Graveguard. The Graveyard mechanics.
Yes.
The ability to keep one or both units off the table and just basically say this threat is you're gonna have to care about these grave sites because eventually there's gonna be 40 Graveguards out of it.
Yeah.
We had a couple of games where Alex would just literally like pop them out turn 1 and then win the double turn on turn 2 and just basically wipe out the entire army because they just hit that hard. Like the combination of like force multipliers that army gets.
Belladama of Vampire Lord on foot. If you're feeling if you're feeling peckish, you take it for the
feeling saucy.
Yeah, feeling saucy. It plays right into the strategy you want to win too. So it like almost enables the go bottom and top and have the +2 attacks on your Graveguard. Like because I don't know if it's intended or not. I hope it's intended, and we have a new FAQ coming out that confirms. The way where the Vampire Lord's command ability hits, because it's in the combat phase, and then it's until end of, so you can get 2 stacks of it if you go bottom combat phase, top of combat phase.
Huh. Okay.
Does that make sense?
No,
Yeah,
no, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
checks
just,
out. I'm just.
Yeah.
It's just a problem. It's you're unlikely to get that off very consistently because CP is kind of a thing in Soul Blights. You're going to be using a lot. So like having like most games, Alex barely ever gets to buff up the Graveguards with any kind of CP mechanics outside of Radicon.
Can I interest you in buying and taking a 75-point idiot who just gives you +1 command point? Kritza,
Yeah,
just a 75-point idiot.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kritza.
I mean, they also Verkos also has like for me the problem is that I think Verkos becomes like the best dynasty just because of you get free CP command trait, you get which is ends up working out as 2 CP a game value battle round, and you get the reroll casting, which has consistently been like proven to be the best
part of the army.
Yeah,
Belladama double casting and rerolling it makes her legit. She's just
and +1 to cast.
Yeah, just legit stonks. Like Belladama, like take notes. You know, like I know Games Workshop is listening right now because we've raised $9,000 for Mental Health America, and they really care about this, so they're listening right now. Yeah. So they're listening. Take notes. Belladama is how you make a 200-point double cast wizard. This is what it looks like. Every army should have a Belladama. You heard it here first.
I agree with
I'm really like really liking Belladama, obviously, and it makes, like what Jeremy was saying, to bounce off of what he had mentioned, it just makes Virkos so much more of like you almost always want to run Virkos. Like I really like, and I've written some Legion of Blood lists that are like, I guess maybe a little bit of Jeremy has rubbed off on me, like very gimmicky lists, like very like there is one direct
skew is fun though. You know what the win stroke is with skew, right? Like you show up to the table, you have several beers already, and you go, I'm going to try to do this to win. You're either going to disrupt it, and you're going to win, or you're not, and I'm going to win, and then I'm going to go drink. Like I love like skew lists catch some heat, you know, because like they're hard RPS, like hard rock paper scissors, and people. You know, people have all kinds of feelings about hard RPS in a competitive game, but especially in a game as robust as Warhammer, you know, like there's so much in it. So when you see a hard RPS show up in a game that has a lot more depth and decision making than a linear playstyle like with Magic, people get some feels, right? But for me, I always have like a heart, like I will always like mono red. Like red deck wins in Magic. I don't know if you've played Magic. You say you play a bunch of games. I don't know if this is in your purview, but red deck wins in Magic the Gathering. I always will have a special place in my heart for just going that hard on such a singular strategy.
You know why, right? It's because it keeps all the other decks honest. That's the point of red deck win. It keeps all of them honest. Like you're like, oh, you didn't bring any offensive or defensive mechanics early on. Well, too bad. Like I guess you're out of the running.
Yeah, no, it's so I like skew. Skew is I think that's the perfect descriptor. We can blow that out to skew. Skew, in a weird sort of way, keeps other armies honest. You know, like because sometimes the skew shows up and is weird. You're like, do I have the tools for that thing? Yes, no, and you go down your list and you're like, nope. All right, they win. Like, it's just such a. That's probably part of the reason why like Gotrek might be problematic is because. Like you get skew for free, basically for just 400, or you get to skew for 400 points and then build a whole other army.
Yeah,
that might be.
Hold up.
Time out. Okay.
Fire Slayer background. Firstly, Gotrek has not changed from one edition to the next. I don't understand the people's complaints about Gotrek because it's just like you beat him the same way you beat him in 2.0.
Yeah, I love the standing.
Nothing's changed.
I love the standing.
And then
it's good.
And then Soul Blight.
The whole game changed, but nothing's changed. Keep going. Yeah, no, like.
No, Manfred Pants is right though. Manfred did everything wrong.
But the point is that you have the best tool to kill Gotrek and Soul Blight. You have Graveguards.
Well, yeah.
Like, literally, every time Alex does not ask a question, how do I, counter these things? I'm like, Graveguards.
Well, drown it with skeletons.
Just bring Graveguards.
Drown it with skeletons. That's the answer always, Alex.
No. I've tried to drown it with skeletons. It didn't work.
Then just roll sixes, man. Like.
drown 10 skeletons. 10 skeletons is not drowning, Alex.
It was 2 units of 10 and 5 wolves. I tried to drown him in minimal unit. I had like 25 models.
That's not drowning.
Work.
That's not drowning. That's like taking out the hose in your backyard and watering him. That's not drowning.
But this is why
you're watering Gotrek.
We have a list deadline to a major that we're going to in 2 weeks. Old Town Throwdown. Just going to promo that. It's in Southern California, Rincon, California. Check it out, Harris. Just giving that a little rep work. But,
no. I brought you on for West Coast rep. Like rep the West Coast. Let's go. So,
but this is why I'm like, I love Radakar and I love the way he plays, and like sometimes he's very swingy like any other undead hero. He either like hits like a brick shithouse or doesn't hit at all for no reason. He doesn't like hit on 4s ever. But he's fantastic in 10 wolves and the extra attack is great. But the Coven Throne is like, if you can roll that well and debuff Gotrek a little bit with his bravery, and then roll that 3d6 against his 10 or maybe less potentially on his bravery on the spell, being Virkos Dynasty and re-rolling your failed cast potentially on it because I think it's a 7-up. Then you just charge a Coven Throne into Gotrek, which would normally just kill the Coven Throne and be like, cool, you're not doing anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're just not doing anything.
Yeah, that's your turn.
You know?
So one of the big thing about Coven Throne is that every Soul Blight list needs to start about 1690 points anyway, because you need to add a couple in your list. Like it's just like it buffs up Graveguards, it buffs up your Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. It's just like, and then all of a sudden it has like some weird gimmicky tech, like, hey, I will cast a spell and I roll 3d6 against your bravery. If I beat it or equal it, I believe you can't swing at this. So I'm just gonna charge you and like completely kind of make your life miserable. Well, it's just, I don't know, like, yeah. It's such a good
I mean, but
piece.
the armies you're beginning to describe for like, okay, Virkos is the best. There's always a best, right? Like there always is, you know. It shifts, it changes sometimes based on the meta. Like you might get like a one unit gets buffed, and then suddenly the best thing becomes this thing because that was just the battle line unit. This other thing needed to be the best, whatever, right? Like it happens, but there is always a best. I don't feel the gulf between Virkos and like everything else in the book. Like you said, you're talking about like a Blood Knight build. You're like, if I go skew, like I've got some game. Like I might drop from a 4-1 list to a 3-2 list, but I'm comfortable with making up for it by running hot or, you know, playing out of my mind, right? Like I personally like that. I think of it as gears. Like you can play in 6th gear, shift into Virkos, you know, like blast, or you can like shift down into 5th and kind of rock like a little bit more of like a you know, Legion of Night or a Blood like type skew build. Go on.
I think
Legion of Night fucks. Yeah.
I was gonna equal like Virkos is only like slightly a lateral upgrade against all the other like dynasties. I said maybe Castellan, because I think Castella is a bit of a hard one to play with competitively unless you want to do a thematic Blood Knight list.
Well,
every Blood Knights and 2 Vangorian Lords.
Yes, everyone that was the dream, wasn't it? Like you saw Castellet like rules teased, and you're like, man, I hope the artifacts and like the rest of this stuff is good. 30 Blood Knights printed. This is the army, and then like as we saw a little bit more, we're like, okay, maybe 10 Blood Knights. It's just the amount of Blood Knights slowly decreased. It was not that I don't think they're like Garbo. I think that they're
no, they just needed to score for us 3 models or 2 models for scoring purposes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Blood Knights, because a lot of the problem I have with Blood Knights is you feel like, oh, they should hit hard, and I'm like, I'm in so many games where I'm like, they swing into something, and I'm like, this is actually not that hard hitting. Like, it never like ends up becoming as like consistent as I want it to be, and then the retreat mechanic is cute. But the problem is they're still single models and objectives. And so like their entire mechanic comes down to for 3.0 is can you remove the unit on the objective matter. No, I was gonna say it just comes down to you either have to bring a bunch of Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon because you need the 5 model scoring purposes and you support them with Knights, or you just make you for future fact. Because keep in mind, like we're probably gonna get another Soul Blight release in the next 6 months. Because Games Workshop new processes now is like, let's release half the army and then let's release the other half.
Am I going to have to buy a second limited edition Vampire Battle Tome while I complain about having to buy a second limited edition Battle Tome that I will buy? I will buy at Games Workshop. I'm going to be mad when I get my new zombie dragon, I will be happy, but I'll be like, I'm very disappointed in you. Like when your kid like says something really hilarious and kind of swears. I'm saying this to like the general you here. When it swears and like says, but it's hilarious, and so you have to kind of be a parent, and you're like, I'm very disappointed in you. And then like the minute they're leaving, you're just that's me when I get my new. If I need a whole second release and to buy a second limited edition battle tome, to have a new sculpt of a zombie dragon. All my anti-capitalist, anti-shilling rhetoric, I'm not getting rid of it, but I will make an exception for that thing. So,
right on.
That moment is my morale. I can be bought. I've always been open. Like I don't call people shills
Everyone
and
has
stuff.
a price.
Everyone has a price. My price, it turns out, is a new zombie dragon sculpt. Like that's.
I just find it hard to believe that they're going to put the city's whatever it's called, the Cursed City miniature kits out of like didn't have any planned projects for them. It's just kind of shocking to them to just invest in this mold and then not use it very much. And then secondly, like we were kind of promised foot vampires, and the only ones that came out was
weren't promised foot vampires.
We were promised foot vampires. I wanted more foot vampires.
I agree.
I
agree.
We had talked about foot vampires for a long time, but James Workshop never said, "Hey, this is happening."
I want them. I like the little feral, little feral dude. Like they'd be the perfect little Tenger. Like sure, throw them on 32s if you want to like annoy me, but like throw them on 32s, give them good rules. Like I'd run like legions of them if they got, or hell, if they're on 5s and they do some shit, they slap, like they capture as 2, they've got some like mechanics, like they deep strike or some shit.
Like Stormcasty,
yeah, like whatever you do, like you fucking foot vampire, give them to me. Again, like I will throw money at my screen while Games Workshop playfully laughs, telling me to stop. They're like, stop it.
I have my own little ranty. I have my own little ranty issues with rules in the Soulblight Gravelord book, and I know Jeremy's already heard this, so he already knows. But there are a lot of things with vampire keyword that don't have the hunger, that really annoy me. Like I love Vargeist. I love Vargeist. But them having a 5-up save and having no way to heal wounds on killing models, and they're the vampire keyword, bugs the shit out of me. Same with the Yargisel or whatever, the Chad Varguf. For first of all, it's Virkos Dynasty, even though it can be run with anything basically.
I like that. That's good design. Do that. No, do that.
It's not a monster. And it's like what, 115 points, pretty convenient. Can 3d6 charge and charge within 18 like Morghast Harbingers, but can't heal on killing things. And also has the vampire keyword. So I'm like, come on, man. Or like the Bloodborne, right? They have a 6-up armor save and a 5-up shrug, and they can't heal when they kill stuff either. And they're also vampires. I'm like, okay, whoa, hold on. So all vampires that are heroes get it. Like, I don't know.
Well, I wanted... Go ahead.
No, I was just sick of Vengorian Lord, Alex. You have a command ability.
I run... okay, that's my thing. You know how everyone has a list, even if someone like this is my favorite thing about Age of Sigmar, right? Like you can run like a competitive list, you can run a lot of different varieties of the same type of list, but like everyone always has like that one or two little tweak that it's like, this is mine, and I keep
this is my tech, this is my tech.
Right?
Are you talking about tech,
exactly.
your tech, or your pet? Like, because these are a little bit different concepts. Is it the tech or the pet?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column
Okay,
B.
fair. Oh, like you have your pet combo. You're like, I love this combo so much, I'm keeping it. Like that.
I know I can make a better list with like the list I'm gonna bring in at Old Town Theater.
Yeah, this is a pet. Okay, this is a
better list.
Yeah,
if I just bring Coven Throne and Radikar together, but I really want 2 Vengorian Lords, and I've loved playing with 2 Vengorian Lords because like potentially when they both get run in charge, it gets very funny, and they can go on 2 different angles of the board and shut down one rend.
Good CP if you get to use it.
Yeah. It's natural. It's just if you're within 3 inches, you worsen the rend of all weapons by 1 to a minimum of dash.
So good.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So right? Good. It's like, who needs the +1 armor save from the Coven Throne on the Graveguard when, hey, you're just going to make them ignore rend 1, right? Potentially.
Right.
It's really fun. I really, really like him. Now, I've had games where they've like gone nuts in combat, and I've also had games in the same game. I've had them go nuts in combat, and then the next combat phase, like do zero, do nothing. So like, but like to me, I love them. This like these are my double Vingorian lords. This is like, you know, everyone has one, but this one is mine or whatever.
Yeah. No, like the pet unit. I think it's legit. I like that's the thing is like I don't believe there is the list. It's like a platonic thing. Like we can. There is the list for you or the list for the tournament. You know, like there are ideal choices, and you know, like we can math hammer some stuff, but it comes back to like player confidence and player play style and skill. Like if you're not good enough, or if you're not, I don't say skill. If your skill set isn't in making certain types of combos work, that's not the list for you. Even if everyone says this is the best Soulblight Gravelords list or Seraphon list or whatever the list is, right? Like you gotta look on. You got to look for your list, and this isn't a denunciation of net listing. I don't personally. I've never denounced that. Like known commodities are known commodities. They're fun. This is like we all got to start somewhere. List building is its own skill, and if you don't have that skill, cool, look it up. You know, look at what works. Don't waste your money. Don't throw it away on stuff that doesn't work. But you know, go ahead.
I will disagree with that.
Go ahead. All right.
You're only allowed to net. You're only allowed to net list if you at least play 5 games with the list before sure.
Sure. Try before you buy.
That's
right.
Only
like.
requirement.
Yeah. Try before you buy. Right. Like if someone's like this Brendan Melnick's list won a 2-dayer, you know, like or went 5-0.
For context.
Yeah. Go ahead.
For context, we went to an event where somebody brought Deepkin of Gotrek, and they thought they could teleport Gotrek with Deepkin.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did you read this on the internet? And I'm like, God damn it! It's like, at least try playing the game.
I remember I was in my, it was like the first or second game, and I look over and I'm like, why is Jeremy over at that table? And it's like, oh. Afterwards, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy like props to him. But here's the thing: he like wrote the list out and he like titled it like GoTrek Surfing Bonanza or whatever.
Oh, he was so excited about it.
He had like artwork for it. He had everything. Like it was this whole list about like designing GoTrek to get like extra moved without like reading the word scroll. He can never be extra moved, extra redeployed, anything.
Yeah.
He can never be set up during the game.
Yeah.
But so sorry, I interrupted you, but I just want to be like, if you're gonna invest in
hundreds of dollars, right? Like hundreds of dollars.
Make sure, out of respect for your opponents at the table, make sure you play it before and don't just, all right, about this net list. I have never played this list before. Let's go.
Yeah.
At an event, it's incredibly like frustrating for both you and your opponents today. Find out later in the tournament, oh wait, he played that completely incorrect. That's not how that works.
Yeah, I was.
That's the only criticism.
No. I think it's an important caveat. I think it's an important caveat. So I got some donations here to read real quick. Read these and look at that. We came in firing on it. Last year was like.
Yeah, we did.
Like it was. So I'm going to rewind these here to noon. Thanks for the $20, by the way, Alex. Lexolopolis, the doctor who's just in here, dropped another $5. Says Rantathon. DJ Pushstart 10K is in reach. Y'all are rock stars. Thank you for the $5. D-Goer, Monsters from Detroit. Thank you for the $5. Comedy Hyena, mental health is important. Hondo, dropping a Benjamin. Thank you so much for that donation. Rocco, your boy, let's go. Chaos, still very happy we did the 8K goal. we're like closing on the 10K. $50. Thank you so much for the $50. Shout outs to the DiceMustFlow again, by the way. Providing one of our gifts, one of our incentives today. Charles Fox says, time for more donations. $5. Thank you so much. Dark Elf Sorceress. Terrain is good. I agree. Terrain is good. $5. Donating for mental health. Also good. Kicker says, if I win this, it will be all pirate terrain. I respect the hustle.
Ooh.
Yeah. Vampirates, make it happen. Don't let your dreams be memes. Like, make them real. $5. Thank you for that. Sharon saying big terrain. $5. Thank you so much. Shankletons. Awesome prizes, man. $5. That's actually not on me. That's community. Y'all did this. Thank you so much for donating. 3D printers go brr. Thank you for the $5, DRL. So, no, I have some shipwreck style terrain. Look at that, and like every IDK player out there has one half of a shipwreck for you.
Yeah.
Or two.
Or two.
Or two now. Because they're down to one chip.
Yeah.
RIP double boat.
It's I wanted to, you wanted to talk competitive 3.0 for a bit, and I want to say that while I appreciate that you're giving away probably the most balanced 3.0 army out there right now, because we don't have a lot of books. B, I'm surprised with Sean being in the show previously. You guys didn't talk about Sons of Behemoth and how apparently the playtesters wrote or the rules designer wrote Sons of Behemoth for 3.0, and then all the playtesters in America decided for the coming out party they were going to just play Sons of Behemoth. I think there's some collusion there we need to address as a community.
Well, I mentioned the 3.0 thing. I was so busy tooting my own horn about being correct about a thing again on the internet.
Yeah.
Like in the past, like I was so busy just like happy I was so right. I didn't think to make the connection between the collusion, Sean. No, man, we have great fun with Warhammer.
We're just giving him a lot of shit.
Yeah, I know.
We're just giving him a lot of shit.
Well,
It was they're on Team America and they give us like zero information about anything. So it's just kind of like all of a sudden we all see them like tweeting about how they're painting Sons of Behemoth, and we're like, you bastards.
Well, to be fair, and like in terms of Midwest, like it reminds me a lot of the time, and this is right around the time I was getting into the Midwest tournament scene and stuff like that. At Midwest Meltdown, where like Brendan, the Lord of Death, he just won like Adepticon's like Best Death or whatever, pre-LON tone, like right around that time, right before that, right? Like he's just been like a big stand for Nagash, as many of us are with good taste. And so, like, he's going to show up to our biggest Midwest tournament that isn't Adepticon, because I consider that an international tournament. Like, that's not ours, that's everybody's, But Midwest Meltdown's got Midwest in the name, like, that's ours. It's big enough to where it's got international appeal, like, people have traveled internationally to come to it. But, like, yeah, that's a Midwest showcase of, the sort of vibe. I think Domus is, like, a great ambassador for what a Midwest tournament is, to us. With the, he has this point up there where he does all the trophies y'all competitive like first care about, and he's like, all right, now all the trophies that matter, and there's just like 100 hobby awards to the point where people make fun of it, and I'm just like, the amount you're making fun of this only makes it more delicious to me. It's like the people who hate Christmas Story. The fact that you don't like it makes me like it. I didn't have an opinion until you decided not to like it.
When is Midwest Meltdown?
Midwest Meltdown's usually in July. Meltdown.
Okay.
So last year would have been. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but where was I going with this take? So Brendan's going to Midwest Meltdown. He's going to bring Nagash. It's right after the LO and Battle Tome. Like the Nagash plus 60 boys, 60 ghosts, or Nagash plus 30 ghosts and 40 skeletons, whatever your season to taste flavor is, right? Like is the list that a lot of people are running, and the whole Detroit Warhammer Club rolls out Nagash just to like kind of mess with him, right? Like still one of the greatest things in the world. You could do one take about like the funny take Sons of Behemoth, ha ha ha, written for 3.0. A bunch of playtesters roll out with Sons of Behemoth, but everyone knew Brendan was going to run Soulblight Gravelords going into this tournament season as soon as that book like was announced, right? Everyone knew he's going to run some version of that, and my tinfoil hat is every one of them did Sons of Behemoth to fuck with him specifically again. Like it was Midwest Meltdown again, like with the Nagash, except this time it's like we're gonna make Brendan run the gauntlet of all giants, because we make these judgments on statistics like that broader tournaments, and we sometimes get myopic about the microcosm of like what's going on in the local meta that's shaping that big tournament scene. You see a 200-person event like of people who know each other and kind of fuck with each other and game each other, and like in the UK, and we're doing it over here in America, at any up and down the coast and in between. Like there's an element of that, the human element that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. That I think it's worth not undermining the broader trends and that we use to vocalize and talk about Warhammer with, but it's worth highlighting and discussing just to keep in your mind. Sorry.
I think it's good to make that point, but also keep in mind Giants are very good for 3.0. So
no, that wasn't like, oh, Giants aren't actually good. They just did it to fuck with Brendan. They're not gonna fuck with Brendan with Beasts of Chaos. Like,
I mean,
they might
for sure do it.
Okay, they might
But
yeah, but yeah.
I'm very excited. I really want to go next year. No way this year. Next year, I definitely want to check out more Midwest events because I honestly just haven't really taken the time to do that. But I mean, heck, Nuke Doctor even just told us we need to come out, Jeremy. So we'll have to try to make that happen. Yeah.
I want to say though, because we're in the topic on the gash and OBR, I am very disappointed the rules team for not writing a better fact for OBR. That's
oh my god, that fucking slays me. It's so clearly an oversight. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it like emotion, like
too. It's still too soon for me. I'm sorry, just too soon.
Too raw.
Yeah, no, the nerve, the wound. It's not even a scar yet. The wound is fresh. The bandage is recent.
I played 2 games with OBR, right? And every single turn, I was ending my like in IRL events, right? I tried during the pandemic. I tried playing TTS, and like it was fun, and I played with a lot of great people. And I'm probably going to continue, probably this week, in fact, to play a little bit of TTS to like test out this variation of lists for the event. But like, oh my god, I ended every single game in IRL with OBR with like 3, 4, sometimes even 5 relentless discipline points left.
Every turn.
I'm like, well, I guess I'm not using these.
Every turn.
It was like, it sucked.
It reminds me of Apple in the early days with the 1-button mouse, where it's like it's different but not better. You remember that? Like it's just like they're on purpose, just a worse thing, just to be different. And that's relentless discipline right now. It's just it's different but not better, and it's in fact worse. And what you do with it is cool. They just allow us to like spam it. If we get to like go, okay, no, you can shield tilt and you can shield tilt. Now it's different in like a way that's unique from all the fun. I look across the table and see it's just me and like a couple of my OBR homies, and we're suddenly like highlighted with the spotlight, and just like the 3 of us, and we're just kind of looking around at everyone like cackling, and they're all laughing as they like redeploy and re-roll charges, which is something I've envied the entire existence of OBR, and just like, and they're just like, they're just like laughing, and all the sound drains out except for the cello music, where I'm just like, and then it starts raining indoors.
Triggering.
Like
triggering.
I honestly, for me, the way I would have addressed the fact, say they can use the regular core CP as well.
Honestly, that would have been pretty good.
That would have been the nice, easy fix to say, just like, you still limited by all the limitations of command points, but you also get access to the core CP.
What really kills me is not being able to I mean like with the spamming stuff, like I'm sure people are like, well, if you're in Petrifex you can't spam the +1 rend, or if you're in Stolic Ward you can't do the retreat and charge mechanic, right, multiple times. That's all fine and dandy. For me, the like not getting +3 move on more than 1 unit really fucking sucks. Like that's what kills me. It's not great. It's not great.
But the +3 move, remember, like you're also playing at smaller tables, so you don't. And as I get why it feels bad, because you're like, feel like I got a mechanic taken away.
Not great.
If taking a mechanic taken away from me, which is not usually how rules writer want to find rules, is not to remove but to enhance. And it's just, for me at this point, I understand why they want to make it consistent, where like you can't like. Because they absolutely want in 3.0 to prevent like forced multiplying stacking mechanics, and I understand why they did that for OBR. But at the same time, I'm like, but you give them so much RDP, but there's no way you can spend it.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely.
The fix is going to be they're just going to give us less RDP, and they'll be like, see, it's fixed.
Yeah, seriously, dude. In the games I had played, I had played like Petrifex with like Elite Cavalos, Soul Mason, Arkin the Black, and like a bunch of Mortec and 2 Harvesters, and I was like looking for random shit to use. I was like, well, I know I'm going to end this turn with extra Relentless Discipline, so first of the Mortarks, sure, +6 inches to my range, Awesome. I get to use that. Oh, +3 move. Like that one's obvious, right? That's what you would spam.
Yeah.
One shield wall, boom. One like extra attack, one other thing. And I like start, of course, with like 9 RDP or something like that. So I'm just like, this sucks.
Well, I mean, the thing, I try to, like, even at the time when people were, like, making a direct comparison from RDP to command points, I'm like, this is a fallacious argument. I'm like, our mechanic, apart from, well, no, it's ranks unbroken by descent, is the mechanic. And that's what Al also says we can't. That's what gives us our RDP, and that's what stops us from making battle shock tests. Like, that is our rule for the basic, I think, and then we get deathless minions because it's a death. All death army gets deathless minions in a version, right? So like, so we get our GA rule that makes us death and unifies us as this is how you tell it's death because they get their death save, and then relentless discipline points. And like, even at the time, I'm like, there are armies out there that just have shit that they do as allegiance abilities. They do it without a resource, and some of them even get to do something without a resource and then have a resource. Like exploding sixes on Daemons and Locus of Diversion are all. I know they're bad examples because Slanesh is in a bad place, and then they also have Depravity. Or you could look at Tzeentch, Tzeentch's Locus plus having their summoning points. Like there are tons of armies out there that just get to do a mechanic, smashing and bashing. Like like there are tons of armies out there where they have allegiance abilities that just say you do the thing. And then separate to you do the thing, they might sometimes have an army resource, and then separate from that, they might also then have command abilities. And whether they have the ability to just get tons of command abilities, command points or not, is battle tome to battle tome. Could get tons that they couldn't spend. Slanesh in its heyday could get tons that they could spend, and in fact, got a moderate amount. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
So there's one thing there. There is one kind, and I do not mean to fucking devil's advocate this shit because obviously I'm upset by it too.
Yeah.
But there is one thing that we get or an OBR player would get that other people wouldn't, and that's ignore battle shock, which is going to be way more important now than it ever has been. Especially when you combine the idea. I know. At least one unit will always be able to ignore battle shock. In an opponent's army.
And bubbles. They just confirmed that bubbles work as well as you think they do for stopping battle shock tests. So like your Skaven are still fine and stuff. Your thing that uses the bubble, your thing that uses the bubble can just go bubble immune to battle shock, and like it can't use the command ability, but everyone can still get hit with the other command abilities and stuff. They just confirmed that that's fine. So like your bubbles are like. You're fine. Like there's still armies that are just going to be bubble battle shock immune. Like, but
the bone type streaker won't negate that.
No, not the bubble. The bubble is the streaker only prevents command abilities taken outside of combat phase, right? It's combat phase.
It's in the battle shock phase. Command abilities cannot be used for those units.
But the bubble is issued if it's issued outside of the bubble.
Is it done in the hero phase?
Well, even if it's done in battle shock phase, if the hero is outside of the Shrieker's mechanic, he can still issue a command ability. And then the other
That's true.
Yeah.
That's why you run Mortis Praetorians and you bring a Bone Type Streaker and the Horrorghast at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, check. Yeah.
No. It's for me, OBR is one of the weird thing where they really didn't think too much about the fact, because I'll give you another example. When the fact first came out for OBR, they had the Nagash changes to it that said, hey, you can cast Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield as much. Oh, but wait, actually, we're going to take Mystic Shield.
No, we're taking Mystic Shield off the table. Archon's fine.
Yeah, but then they kept it. But Archon's fine. It's like,
Archon's fine.
What? Did you guys just not read? And also, Archon's like.
It's because that was on me because I mentioned like the low key tech of him being able to essentially Mystic Shield buffer and like in Petrifex Elite and stuff, and they're like, oh no, you can't do that. So like James Workshop was listening to me that day that I was looking for silver linings with Ossiarch Bone Reapers. I was looking for silver linings. I'm like, and they're like, no. Fuck your silver lining. This is gone too. And I'm like, no. I guess Archon's still fine though.
Yeah,
like Archon's actually pretty cool in Petrifex Elite.
I was looking forward to like having a giant block of Mortek guards and then the Gash and just make that Mortek guard.
Stalic Lord list.
Or just immune to Ren and just say run down the middle and just be like, oh, I deal with this unit now. That you really can't. because it's immune to Ren and has reroll 1 of saves from the Gaseous command ability. So it's just like it's super durable block. But then they're like, okay, well you have to bring Archon now if you want to do that. And I'm like, it's not worth it. Like bringing both of them is fun, but it's not worth it.
But context. Archon and Catacross combined is still cheaper than Nagash.
Yes.
Which is why people run that. Like they just.
But I feel bad for Catacross because he went from being the super leader.
This is what a 500-point leader dude looks like, right? Like he went from that. Like this is what that should look like.
470 points.
I was operating off of
500.
at 500 formerly. That's what he looked like. He's down to 450 now, right?
Yeah, 450 something like that. It's just like his whole steel CP mechanic was just kind of like, okay, well that's kind of lame now. I wish they would rewarded it for 3-pointer to say if the enemy would get a CP from their general being on the table, you would just deny it on a 4-up. So that way on every turn you would get that mechanic consistently instead of just once per. That was also kind of like what the fuck?
Another oversight. Yeah.
I've now been activated though. That subject brings me onto a whole other death-related topic, and that's the fact that Night Haunt don't work in 3.0 at all.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have monsters.
End of story. Move on to the next topic and wait for a fucking battle.
You know that death. You know that death can only ever have one valid faction. This has been the truth since I have played Age of Sigmar. Whenever one is good, all others must perish. In a weird way, it's kind of
well when Feck was popular. I did pretty well with Night Haunt.
Yeah, but
Memphis saying it is like, was that the best? It's like doing good with the pet faction doesn't mean you're like it's just like how he lit or whatever that.
I know Mr. Ruff's fully right. He's fully right on this. I just wanted to.
No, you got to self honk. You got to flex a little bit. No, it's cool. No, it's cool, man. No, and that's the thing is when Feck was dominant, for Feck to be dominant, they threw LON under the bus that same GHB. You remember when that happened? They're just like, get under the bus. And just every single time one of the death factions gets potent, it's always at the sacrifice of the other ones. SBG, right where I want to see it. Not OP, not going to be absolutely raining terror on the tables, but you've got all the tools to compete. You're not hamstringing yourself with the army you bring. And you can even take a couple options at a liability and still be confident in your that you're going to be able to have the tools to perform, where you want to on the table. That's where I want a death army to be. And then even to be what feels like the most balanced a death army has been, they're like, no, sorry, OBR. Sorry, dudes. We're gonna have to kneecap you. There's only so many bones and souls to go around, and all of them are in SBG right now. I mean, I guess if you want to write a narrative about how this is all logistical, it makes sense to me. But meanwhile, freaking Order's just over there, like Bono in Ethiopia in the South Park episode where he's just yeah, just flaunting it and pointing and just savaging.
So the secret is apparently the rules designers at Games Workshop. If your Grand Legion starts with the letter D, you're cucked. It doesn't matter. So, just gotta be O or C, cannot be D.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's upsetting to me because Night Haunt definitely don't work in 3.0, at least not right now because of the I can't do all out. I can't do all out defense. I can't do Mystic Shield.
Mm-hmm.
There are some cool. All out attack is almost useless because you universally get to reroll all your attacks anyway. Hitting on 3 at the time, so it's just always mostly useless to spend this.
Well,
rerolling ones.
I don't want to take away from the person who actually plays Night Haunt because I feel solidarity with all the death armies, and then I have a residual solidarity with destruction players too because I'm we just. Is this us two locked in this dance forever? The Batman Joker conversation in the Tim Burton flick. That's Dark Knight. This is just us. We're destined to do this dance forever. Where destruction is not the odd man out and and then death has to be, and then just back and forth forever. This is our dance. but like, I do have optimism for Night Haunt because whilst they are ghost, they do have good bones. Like I think the MSU. I think the MSU, like the buffs, like the nature of some of the buffs they have, and like even if the buffs get like, repurposed because the re-rolling stuff, they're just trying to strip that out. What they know to buff with their auras, and there's some good bones there. They're just again a revamped battle tome away. Add a monster for crying out loud.
That's
it could be a haunted tree.
Hey,
I don't care.
A monster.
I don't. It could be like it could be a jack.
monster.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Oh, yeah. That's Forge World.
They
I'm
have a
sorry.
monster.
I'm
It's just-
sorry. My bad. I forgot.
Hold on. I'm sorry. This is also triggering for me.
No,
'cause
go on.
I really liked running the Morngul, and it was a lot of fun in 1.0, and he was really strong. In fact, I actually brought a Legion of Nagash list in 1.0.
Yeah, that
was like 2 Mornguls and Neferata for a -3 to -5 to hit, potentially if I hit units. And I went to a GT in Canada, and I played against a Khorne army, and I was making a -1 bravery, and like each Khorne unit was just like -5 to hit. And it was back when you didn't have an automatic 6 to hit cause an immediate hit no matter what. So the guy just like couldn't do anything to the army, and I was like, oh, feels great, but also like terrible, like poo on me. But Morngul's have like just like Sladesh. It was like they were good for a minute, and then boom, every single year gets worse somehow. And it's like Morngul got like 3 different updates since then, and it was like you're worse. Oh hey, you're bad right now. Well, let's just make you a little worse. And like, oh, you're even worse now. Well, let's just make you invalid. Here you go.
I want to call out the dad joke in the chat, which is apparently the best joke I've read today.
Which one?
They don't have bones. They just have fighting spirit, you could say. I love that.
Ghost bones.
Yeah, ghost joke. Well, no, like my joke relied on the ironic humor of saying like they may be ghosts, but they have bones. Like good bones. The dichotomy between it, and people are like, and then someone's like, actually, ghosts don't have bones, and I'm like, I know that's why I went with the irony, the ironic take. Never mind. No, I Night Haunt. I have hope for Night Haunt. Flesh Eater Courts, I'm looking at. I'm just like, this is your life now. Like this is where
Not Flesh Eater Court is very good.
It's
very
good. Like, but that's the thing is like what you see is what you get. Like that's where you live. Like this is. I don't think it trains on the way for Flesh Eater Courts. So you're gonna live by the sword, die by the sword for the next year, right? Like
it's for me. It's like redeploy is a massive bonus to them. Unleash Hell's a massive bonus to them. Like I can't tell you.
Yeah.
We saw Sons of Behemoth big game against 6 Crypt Flares.
Oh, that was mean. That was mean.
And then he unleashed Hell, and then the thing took like 36 mortal wounds from it. So that was cool.
Wait, no. That wasn't in Idaho because that was 2.0.
No, we played another game of it's not the Boise Cup. I saw another game of Flesh Eater Court, unleashing Hell, Sons of Behemoth, like a Mega Gargant dead on the chart.
What were they unleashing Hell with?
Crypt Flares.
Crypt Flares.
They have a shooting attack.
Yeah.
They do their mortal wound screen.
They do the mortal wound screen, which when Unleash Hell is triggered, is we already in combat. You're base to base at that point. So when you trigger it, they get the full effect of Unleash Hell. And he had a Grim Garland relic nearby, which so the Sons of Behemoth was -3 bravery or something. So it's just like, all right, every roll is basically like an average of like depending on like 6 to 7 mortal wound. So it's just like it was like, well, those things are like as people figure out 3.0 more, they'll like, okay, well, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to get near a fucking Crypt Flare unit at all.
Yeah.
Wow. So to give a shout out to someone who I don't believe is in the chat, AOS List Lab, in another Discord, he had brought up the idea of allying a Vengorian Lord to effect list. And I've consistently been looking at that, and I'm like, fuck, that's a great idea because of the verbiage for their spell, where they point and click to a unit within 12 inches, which I realize as I say this sentence myself, that I've actually never used this in my games yet. So I read double Vengorian Lord, but you point and click at a unit and be like, you know what? The rest of the army is +1 to wound against that unit.
Yeah.
And so you just ally in a Vengorian Lord, sure, he doesn't get a 6-up shrug. He's kind of an expensive hero, but like then Feck is now +1 to wound against that unit.
Yeah, but think about it. Yeah. No, it's fun. No, I'm not like super Debbie Downer about like any faction for true. Even Ossiarch Bone Reapers, like they do have some like solid point costs. So you have a quality of War Scroll in the book that you lean on, even if you're not playing this like really big part of the game right now that everybody else is playing. And so it's like that kind of sucks. But but you still have like Mortec Guard they still slap shit. Like they still, 25 millimeter base like badasses. Like they still dumpster stuff. Like so.
Yes, 100%.
So it's like even if you like you kind of the feels bad is real and it is not. I don't want to dismiss it because I am like you, Ossiarch Bone Reapers players. I too play them and I feel bad. Like, but like I don't like I'm still gonna take them to a tournament next year. Like I don't, regardless of what changes happen. I'm like I'm still gonna roll with these guys. Like I love them. SBG is gonna give me a better competitive chance because it's playing in more phases of the game, and that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be able to.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it actually plays to objectives. Like the big problems of OBR, Nighthaunt, Carrion Overlord, all those armies from 2.0 which don't have monsters really accessible. Because OBR has monsters, but they're like
Harvester.
There's one monster.
Yeah,
one
Harvester is
Harvester.
just.
Oh, pardon me. Nagash, Arkan, and a Harvester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you play OBR without if you play Nagash, it's going to be the only monster really for the most part. And then if you're going to play more like regular non 3.0 design Nagash lists, it's like the only monster available to you is the Harvester. Like there's so many. The worst part. Sorry.
No.
I was going to say the worst part is like this might only be a year thing, right? Because GHB 2022, whatever it's called, might not have Gur as the mechanic. So
yeah. Maybe you don't get to play. I mean, you don't get to play the same game everyone's playing for a year as OBR. That might be a reality we have to just kind of sit with. We just got to hold that. Like we just. I do think Archon is. Archon is I don't want to say necessary in OBR, but it's the most appealing Archon has ever been. You could have him and Hod over like, do I take Catacross? If I take Catacross, do I take Archon? Probably not. I don't like I want to take Catapults, so I'm taking Catacross. Like the decision trees that occurred in building OBR lists before, like you had decision trees. Right now it's like, I think I take Archon. Now what else to make this work?
Yeah.
Like and I think that's just a reality Ossiarch Bone Reapers live in right now. And the weird thing is you're punting one of the traditional strengths of the list, which is I know the catapults take is a hot take in the in your phase group.
No. Yeah. Oh.
Like I know it's a hot take around your part. But catapults were one of the things that a lot of players felt they had to lean on to force engagements, to do stuff with that army. And now you're looking at catapults and you're like, I don't think I can take these. And like, so I just have to punt this matchup like that I needed them for even harder. So it's just again, this reality is like you're just gonna have to hold that for a year and find your fun, like, and again, I wouldn't be surprised if OBR wins like a 50-60 person tournament, or not best deaths. OBR rips a best death off of Soulblight Gravelords just throughout the year. Where periodically just rips some best deaths throughout the year. I won't surprise me, but like again, skilled pilots relying on like quality war scrolls. That's what's happening because you're not playing big chunks of the game right now.
There's a couple units like even OBR, like I personally think like the real gas in 3.0 is the Stalkers. But the problem with the Stalkers, it suffers the same thing as the Blood Knights. They're one wound away from being 2 models.
You have to blend, and you have to blend. Like you have to hit.
No, they're 2 wounds away from being. You have to be 5 or more wounds.
No.
Oh right? Shit! They are 4 wounds. They are 4 wounds. It's been a while since I played OBR Stalkers.
And I am the greatest OBR player on this show right now.
No, go on.
No, it's just it's one of these things. Like I mean, personally, I own like 9 of them, so I always love them for 2.0. But the 9 3.0, I'm like, if I'm not gonna build a Nagash list, like this is kind of like best unit because it doesn't depend as much on command abilities. They also
They have their own unique
have
command
a
ability that they
real-
get to bring to spend some of that excess of points. Yeah. You
yeah.
know, that's
Yes.
I have a thought experiment with OBR that piggybacks off this. Is like I wonder if you're starting to look across the army for like being forced into Neapolitan to spend the excessive command points. Is that their intent? Is they're like, no, you're going to take stalkers, you're going to take cavalists, you're going to take more tech, and that's how they're forcing you into taking more of a variety of options. But then you're diluting some of the power points.
Didn't they also fact the change to say that allied heroes can't spend command abilities like
Well,
generic? ones on
you
your
can't
unit?
take them anyway in Ossiarch Bone Reapers.
Well, it didn't used to be that way. Remember, you could ally in like vampire lords to give your
No, OBR
Never.
literally never
Never.
had. OBR
They
has
have
never
never.
had allies.
Yeah.
They've had
release.
zero
You could
allies.
mercenary
Yeah.
in some marauders or some
Yes.
shit, but like you couldn't take
Yes.
allies.
But mercenaries are subject
And-
to the TO being like, yeah, I'm okay with mercenaries.
Yeah, and mercenaries were
Mercenaries were a thing you could take a vampire lord as a mercenary.
Yeah,
that
'cause
was
you took the
Blood
one.
Knight,
Yep.
mercenary.
Yeah.
The Blood Knight one.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you could.
There was.
There's a
there were so many
necromancer.
things they
You could merc in some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just problematic for me because the RDP mechanic was so so good, and then just not to jump on that bandwagon again since train left the station, but I'm like, come on, Games Workshop, like spend unless you're gonna have a really active release schedule for Battletoads, which they might. This is kind of like that was a pretty clear miss to me.
Another caveat: you could never run a mercenary. Even if your TO allowed mercenaries, you can never run any mercenaries in OBR list if Nagash was present in the list.
Yeah, if Nagash was that was a restriction, Nagash or Arkan.
No, not Arkan, just Nagash.
No, that was it doesn't matter. The point is, give us ways to spend RDP. Bottom line moral story.
Moral. Yeah, I don't care what way it is. Just give us ways to spend it. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Bye. Like, you'd be a total gent if you also reinvestigated your reinvestigation of Nagash's War Scroll, please. Like just the FAQ. Could you please look at it one more time? Because like this is like the teacher handing you your homework back, and like you're like, oh yeah, it's done. And they're like, are you sure? That's like I just want to do that with like Nagash's FAQ. Like, are you sure? All right, cool.
Yeah.
the meme of Michael Cena or John Cena like Terry and just something. Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
I also like a big. Sorry, like this is a 3.0, like another dev thing. It's like, why? How come dev doesn't have any priest? Like for God's sake, like the entire allegiance is like about like priestly dev. Zero priest. Not a single priest in the damn allegiance. Why?
Yeah, that's weird.
Really
Why aren't Mortison's freaking priests? Like the entire Mortison cast. I haven't even thought about it at all. Why the hell don't they have a single? They are literal priests.
They used to be a priest. Nagash
Yes, they
was a
are.
priest
And Nagash was also a priest. He's right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They were like, well, we can't have him do prayers, so that's too powerful.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. Can the entire FA? In fact, they call all of GW, however many odd employees they have, into one office and ask them how we as a the whole community, like we send up one representative, Vince Venturella or something, like he goes in there and and he stands up at a podium in front of the entirety of Games Workshop staff. And it's just and then he has a whole fat stack of papers, and then he holds it up, and it's just one picture of a whore, and then 1,000 blank sheets of paper, and he goes, "So I need to talk to you about this. Change it," and just change this. I don't know. I'm not blaming any of you. I'm not calling anybody out, but don't. You hear you in the back?
Yeah.
Don't. Now change it.
Dude, it is wild to me that they lack so many things with the priest key, or lack anything with the priest keyword. I know someone in chat gang mentioned that running demons, there are no demons with priest keyword. That's okay, because there are other chaos factions, Grand Alliance chaos with priest keyword. There are zero priest keyword in Grand Alliance death. Technically, 1/4 of the major faction of the game, has 0 priest keyword. That's the issue. It's
Well, I don't know.
not
That's
Clearly,
great.
they are priests.
I mean, the priest hill is not the hill I will die upon over the Grand Alliance death, because it's like, again, I've been getting by just fine, and priest just kind of got a little bit worse. So like, it's not the hill, but no, there's the cognitive dissonance. There's just this utter disconnect between like a lot of the fluff and flavor and the lore of the entire Grand Alliance throughout the last several decades, and like, wait, they don't have a priest. It didn't even register because it's something I've taken for granted for so long. Death needs more
priests
factions.
are so good now in 3.0. Like they're like
You-
free dispel. The prayers are good. They're just so good.
You think they're so good? You're the only person I've heard say that. Everyone else thinks priests are like Garbo tier now.
Oh, I love
They have their uses. I mean, like,
as a,
yeah.
as a mostly Fire Slayer player, having the ability to dispel endless spells now is pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Just gain that, and then the prayers are very good. Like the generic prayers are very good. Like the 6-up shrug is nothing to laugh at. Basically a mortal wound generator is, not too good in Fire Slayers, but it is pretty good in armies. Like there is just anything with mobile priest, like pretty fast moving priest, is pretty threatening to a lot of builds.
Yeah. So
imagine if you could have a priest for a soul blight, and you can curse an enemy unit, and your grave guards go into him, and they're like, oh, I don't have exploding 6s, but I do mortal wounds on 6s, tid and wound. It's pretty terrifying.
Yeah. All right. So we got some donations that came in since the last. Let's see. Slacker says, "Let's go 10K, $5. Thank you so much for the $5. Shanzor, here's to the magic, $15. Thank you so much. And Ty dropping 10K. Let's do this. Let's go. Thank you for the $25. We're $555 shy of the 10K goal. I actually don't have milestones after 10,000 beyond one milestone I vetoed. So I'd have to put it back on.
That? What was that?
Okay, it's so some people might know that I was an indie wrestler for a couple years in Wisconsin, and I'm super jelly of like how like there's this whole like well, never mind. Basically, some people don't know that I'm an indie wrestler. I will go into like Mephisto heel champ mode and challenge and like take some challengers for a pudding wrestling like match. So I'll take a challenger from the local community. Oh man, I would love to wrestle Jim Stephanie Sterling. That would actually just be a dream. I would take a chokeslam bump any day of the week, through a table if need be. I still remember how to bump. Your body doesn't forget the pain that teaches you how to bump.
Did you wear a getup? Did you wear a costume?
When I wrestled, I had a. I wouldn't do it again, but I had two gimmicks. So I had the Dark Angel Damon Andrews, heavily inspired by Christopher Daniels. So I was like paying homage. You pay homage. Like the politics of wrestling are very pronounced. Who your trainer is like matters in the circles. How you shake somebody's hand, your moniker, like everything is like the politics are intense. So Dark Angel Damon Andrews, it was a gothic surfer guy gimmick is the best way I can describe it. Like Edge and Christian meets. ENC meets what happened here? No, that's fine. Yeah, ENC meets Christopher Daniels. Get up. I mean, I had wrestling boots. I usually wrestled in like, basically some DIY, jeans with chains because the gothic thing, and either shirtless or wore like a fishnet shirt and some elbow pads and stuff. Just like a standard wrestler attire.
Yeah.
But my other gimmick was Ginger, which was a cross-dress gimmick to wrestle with women. When I first started wrestling, I had very, very long hair. I helped train one of the ladies who wrestled with us, and so I was the only one who knew the match when her opponent called in or like didn't show. So her opponent no-showed for what was going to be our inaugural like woman's title for this brand, for this company, and and so I wrestled her. In a woman's match, and I did a cross dress gimmick. I talked with a lisp. I've always been comfortable cross dressing, by the way. Like it's not like for me. It's nothing. It's meaning. I don't care. Like I'd wear a kilt as soon as I'd wear a sundress. Like it's meaningless to me. I don't care. Like it. You know, I will.
I'm sure you'd look great in a sundress.
Yeah, I do. Sundress and combat boots. I have fantastic legs.
That is a Portland aesthetic right there.
Yeah.
Is,
no, I'm good.
You,
no, I got this. No, I'll pull it off. I rock it. You know, gender's largely a construct anyway, right? Like
it is. Oh.
But but still, like there, you know, it's problematic. Like me, you know, hetero cis white male for the most part. Like I want to do it again, but yeah, I did it back in the. So I had a cross-dress gimmick. Ginger. I came out to Barbie Girl by Aqua. It was a whole thing. Automatic heel because you just get the instant cheap heat. Like instantly hate. They instantly hate you. You shut your mouth. Like just like getting in people's faces as this like, yeah. So, but I was the first New Age wrestling women's champ.
Oh wow.
In history. So yeah, I have two gimmicks. The Damon Cutter was my finisher, which is a DDT.
What was
it was a DDT. A high ankle DDT. Impaler DDT.
Okay, I am foreign to the idea of
so some chat gang knows. If my opponent was willing to, instead of an impaler DDT, I do basically what's called a chicken wing DDT. It looks a little bit more stylish. It's a little bit more dangerous to throw if they have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Because if they stiff up and I grab their arm, they're gonna fucking pop out the shoulder. But
oh shit.
So chicken wing, you basically a half Nelson. So chicken wing, boom, high angle DDT, drop them on their head.
What can I do to have you wear a costume at a tournament?
A costume at a tournament? You don't have to donate to that. I'm already doing that at Nova. Like I'm just gonna do that. Why would I make people donate
Nova
to
2022?
Like, yeah. Why would I make people donate to make me do something I'm already gonna do? That feels.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I know you've never been to SoCal Open. But
Andrew Yell says he would wrestle me. He can bump. There it is. If we break 10,000, the hidden goal that goes back on is Andrew versus Andrew will wrestle.
Ooh,
to fund the cosplay for Meph.
Yes.
Comedic hyena. All right, you know what, chat gang, you want to lock in the cosplay at $10,500 if we go over. I will cosplay. What kind of cosplay are we talking? I'm already doing a Rainbow Dash cosplay for a RantCast. Huh? What?
Nagash cosplay. You have to have the biggest hat.
Okay.
You have to have the biggest hat. You got to dress up in skeleton face paint.
Okay.
You got to. I mean, I'm not trying to influence chat gang. I'm not trying to.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like you, Mr. Meph, Mr. Death Guy, to dress up as Nagash as best you can with a big tall hat,
the hat,
skeleton face paint, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so I got to go. So you want full on Nagashian cosplay at like Nova, like some big Midwest Meltdown next year, something like some big tournament, right?
It's got to be cheesy. It's got to be like the original Nagash. You got to be like as Skeletor as possible.
So like I gotta for inspiration, I gotta grab my guy off the. I gotta. All right, you got.
You got to change your voice to be a Skeletor, like an old school Skeletor.
I can't really do the like. Like I can't really pull it off too well. Like we
just heard it.
Yeah, really? Oh, that was good. That was sufficient. Be a death priest. Yeah, live the dream. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. 10,500. I will pull off the. I will Nagash specifically Nagash cosplay at an event next year, no later than. What do you want to say? How do you want to put a time constraint on this? It's July now. Give me 1 year to get it done. Midwest Meltdown, we'll say no later than Midwest
That's
Meltdown.
Good.
When's Nova? Nova's before that, right? So
Nova's late August. It's always around like my birthday.
Okay.
Every year. Yeah.
Let's say Nova. No later than Nova. That way I have in case I miss, because I'm gonna have to look at these shoulder pads. All right. Like I'm gonna have to get these shoulder pads. This is gonna be.
I would assume that you wouldn't use those because you can't really.
Don't underestimate my power.
Into anything.
Don't underestimate my power.
Fair. Prequel meme best meme, so I appreciate it. Wow, I appreciate it so much. I literally I've told my fiance, I was like, I will quote a prequel every single day for the rest of my life to you. And I do. And I make a point to it. And sometimes it's picked up, sometimes it isn't, but either way, it's appreciated.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I will say, if you like dressing up for tournaments, I actually do like dressing up for
I
tournaments.
haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna pull it off. Let's go.
Really? So SoCal Open in Del Mar, California, just about 45 minutes north of San Diego. It's like a horse racing track kind of thing, and they have a big 40K event. They have a small horse RC. They have a pretty big, sizable AOS event. It's run by Scott Reed. He is the TO for LVO as well. He's a really great guy, fantastic human being. But SoCal Open. It is always like right next to the weekend of Halloween, or it's on the weekend of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I always make a point to dress up every single SoCal Open, no matter what. I think the first one I may not have, but like one year I dressed up in like a skeleton onesie that I didn't check the size. And so I put myself down as like a medium, but it was like a medium in Chinese sizes instead of American. So like there's a little too much showing, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
And then the next year I decided I was going to dress up as like a White Claw for Saturday and as a Salt Shaker for Sunday. And this year I don't even know what I'm going to dress up as. Tickets just went live. And so I'm like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do.
Ketchup and mustard.
And it honestly is a little bit of a struggle. What?
Ketchup and mustard. I don't know why I find ketchup and mustard.
The second day?
Yeah, ketchup and mustard. Like, but you can't do just a bottle of ketchup. You got to get like a onesie where you're like, you know, it's like the red onesie. You're wearing like a white cap, like you're like your top, like you know, go into it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I like the idea of a onesie because after the first year, like a year later, I would get feedback from people and they'd be like, "Hey, your onesie was too small. I saw way too much of your stuff." And so I'm like, "Oh, perfect! Like now I have to do that every year.
Yeah.
Like now I have to expose myself to everyone at all times."
yeah. There you go. Like regardless. Yeah.
This is
levels of comfortability. Yeah, just like this is happening now. You knew what this was. Yeah.
you already knew what it was.
Yeah, you already knew what this was.
No,
it's you know, it is the old school Nagash, the metal one. I love it so much, and I don't drag queen shame around these parts.
Absolutely,
drag queens are beautiful.
They are.
But yeah, this is not my paint job. I got to strip this. I ordered this for $80 off eBay, and it is the best $80 I've ever spent in my life.
Honestly?
Yeah.
You know, one thing I always saw that mini, right? And I didn't realize how big he was.
Oh, here's Vlad from a little bit later printing of Vlad, but from the same era.
Oh, he's way smaller. There you go.
Like
yeah.
Like in fact, the dragon from this era is like this just a tiny bit taller. Go ahead.
Dragon from the era. There's a conspicuous 80 mil base here for a reason. This is Zacharias the Era.
No, you got to go back further from when this one was printed, baby. Because the squiggle
one that's on all four.
Yeah, the squiggly like dude. Yeah, Vlad, your favorite.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Squiggly dude is a tiny.
Yeah,
boy.
He's like little squiggy
exactly
squiggly boy. Yeah. He had the violator pose, you know, from Spawn, like just the lean back and then forward. Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit bigger than Nagash. Vlad, your favorite vampire model? I can't choose. I can't choose. You can't make me choose my favorite child.
Are you talking about? Are we allowed to pick any vampire model from the?
Yeah, the whole range and all time. Yeah. Hang on, I gotta listen to my son while you tell checking what your favorite model was.
Absolutely. Well, I got two favorite models here for you guys. The first of which is Conrad von Karstein. I love the two blades and how he's like drinking from it and how his cloak is becoming bats. I really love that Conrad von Karstein one. But then also I have two Vengorian Lords. And if you guys have seen, you know, I realize I haven't posted the YouTube videos of our podcast episodes in a while. So you haven't seen it, but I always show it I always mention it then. I've been making two Vengorian Lord conversions because I like running two Vengorian Lords.
The model is sick. Oh, that's it? Yeah.
One is the Zacharias model, but with a blood dragon on top and a sculpted throne for him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the other one is an actual conversion I've made from the Vengorian Lord mini, but like I put a
that's gnarly.
Yeah, thank you. It's
that's
the
rad.
Ears, ears from the Morghast or Manfred's mount, the ears from Manfred's mount, and then a Fleshhound head.
On
top of that,
Good green work in the gap fills there too, by the way. Good green stuff in the
Thank you.
capitals. Yeah.
I'm gonna add fur to the back because I'm not actually happy with that. But thank you.
I
But
mean,
then I actually have this
good from my angle.
this original first ever fucking. My camera is not.
Well, put your
really
hand behind it,
but
and it'll help you. But there you go.
the very first type of Blood Knights. Like there were 3 original Blood Knight models, and this is one of them with like an added shield. And I'm very happy. You can't see it for shit from this video, but it is a 30-year-old sculpt.
Yeah.
And I love old models, old ugly models. I love it.
Oh,
Love
see, I love that you mentioned that they're ugly. Like I think that they're like there's this like weird sort of like alternate reality take we have where we're like, oh, this thing that I used to like is like perfect in the past. And I'm like, no, it's bad. But like love the badness of it. It's part of why you loved it to begin with. You know, like love,
Yeah.
you know, like why are why is like, you know, why is Labyrinth so just excellent? Because those puppets are so bad they're good, you know? Like it's just if you did that with CGI or modern tech, it just wouldn't have the same heart, you know. Enjoy, you know, why do I love my Clown Gash? Cuz it's I look at it and I'm reminded of a time that this was the pinnacle of hobby for me, was buying one of these that I could never afford as a 10-year-old to 12-year-old kid in, you know, 6th or 7th grade, right? Like this is, and by the time I had enough of a sort of windfall with my mowing lawns and trading comic books and stuff, they came out with vampire counts and Nagash was gone. So I never got to have him until I came to Age of Sigmar. You know, and so this model sat on a pedestal in my mind forever. Not because the quality, but because of what it represented. And now, again, best $80 I've ever spent, because every day I look over there and I can just like love it every time I see it.
So what is your how are you gonna make that hat? Are you gonna paper mache it?
I'm gonna spend a long time on Etsy, but I foresee a lot of like foam and felt in my future. So I'm thinking like a dunce cap with like and then lay some foam, like a foam wrap over it, and then felt it up. And then because it's felt, I should be able to like get some like some. No, felt's not the best for like gluing stuff too, but I'll get like some literal like
the horns.
Well, the horns I can puncture in, and Lulu is really, really good at sewing, so I might be able to get those horns. I hear there's like some mythical creature who makes these hats somewhere on the internet. Like it's what they do in like Australia or the UK, and if somebody knows who this human is, I've heard they exist. I've never seen them advertised. Get at me. I'll order a Nagash hat. Like,
dude, I'd order a Nagash hat.
You know the secret.
That could be a thing. You could put Mr. Meph on it, you brand it.
Yeah.
Boom, there you go.
No, the key to good cosplay is a couple good details. You don't need to nail everything. You just need. It's kind of like painting. You know, like faces, bases, and was it faces, bases, and weapons? Is that the, you know, like your three? If you nail those 3 things, the rest of it will kind of sing.
Yep.
You get the rest to a good quality, and you get your faces, your bases, and your weapons, and people are gonna, you know, dig it. Similar thing with cosplay. Like, you know, Lulu and I used to do a when we do couples. We always do couples cosplay, but we did Lois and Clark one year, and so like I made us press passes that said Lois and Clark, and you know, teased my hair to where I got the super like spiral off the side, and you know, like bought like the fake glasses. Like she had the press pass and like, you know, like a, you know, journalist notebook and stuff like
Camera.
that. Yeah, like the little like it was we found an old school tape recorder to get a statement, and then she had you know, so like those little details is really what like faces, bases, and shields. Yeah, if you got shields. But
Dude,
like a couple.
I love painting shields.
Yeah, I did. You know,
Okay.
you know, Casey Jones. You do a Casey Jones cosplay. Get the mask right. If you get the mask right, you can sell the rest of it, right? Like, because it's the most iconic aspect of it. Like, and for that, I just did a denim vest that I just had a denim jacket, tore the sleeves off, denim vest now, and like a couple, like some biker gloves, wore some combat boots and jeans, and had a hockey stick, you know, and like that's Casey Jones. Like cosplay is you just again nail a couple of the details or the props, and you can sell the rest of the costume. So if I nail the hat and the shoulders, I have a staff, like a prop sort, like you'll be like, that's Nagash, right? Like as soon as you see the hat, maybe some skeleton face paint or like actually got a really great mask for my face. But
okay, yeah, I agree. I do agree. I think that's like you have to take these quintessential items to really make the
That's right.
whole thing work. My only issue with some models is that, like, especially since I have this weird thing, I guess not weird, right?
Mhm.
I'm with like old ugly models. The faces are hard. The faces are really, like, I'm actually having a lot of trouble. Like one of those models that I showed you, the one that wasn't already on the mount, it's just this part of his face that's exposed, and it's incredibly hard to figure out what is what. And then on the other one, it's just like a bad sculpt on the face. So it is a very big challenge for me.
Mhm.
Whereas like you take a modern mini, you take a Radicar, you take a Belladonna or whatever, and it's like immediately you know it's good. But like it is a little bit of a challenge. But the rest of the model, yeah, weapon. Oh, actually no, with the exception of the one that I showed you where I tried to, this one, the I've had to paint it like a lightsaber because it the blade does not make sense, and I've tried filing it down to make it work, and it just doesn't work. The sculpt is too old and too bad, and I'm not going to replace the weapon because it's not going to look the same. But oh boy, it is a challenge when you paint old minis. That's why, like, I have a few friends that play Skaven, and I had recommended them. I'm like, instead of looking at Skyr acolytes and printing new acolytes, because that also isn't fun, like, take the Blood Bowl team, take the Skaven Blood Bowl team, and like they're all holding footballs anyways that kind of look like bombs. Boom, make those your Skaven acolytes.
Yeah.
You can just paint something that like looks okay, look dynamic, and don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is, like, you're going back to the weapons. If you paint that football to look like a convincing bomb, boom, you've sold me, right? Like,
that's fair.
you've sold me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
By the
My
way,
son
I
has
see-
been bugging me for like the last hour. I need you to cover some time. We're entering the last 20 minutes of this donation block for that terrain, everybody. So keep the donations coming in. We got one more block to go after this, and I will be right back. You go ahead and
Yeah,
you're in
of
charge, man.
course.
Talk about whatever. This is your time to shine. You got this. Chat gang, if you need, chat gang will bail you out. You always just like look at chat. They got
right
you.
now.
Yeah, chat gang got you. All right, I'll
So
be right back.
I'm looking at Warren. You have 66 cool boys, and you are painting this stuff up. That is amazing. Faces, bases, banners, shields. That takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication, especially since you're about to get a bunch of new minis. Cool boys are fantastic. Not everything is great, but there's a lot of really good stuff with Cruel Boys right now. The crossbowmen, I am all into. So, like, by all means, if you have like a double Dominion set, or if you got even more than that, convert, add make more of the crossbow boys. That's really great. They basically have better than sun metal weapons, which I'm a really big fan with. Looks like Glader LOL is saying, okay, tell us why harvesters are overrated. I don't think harvesters are overrated. I love harvesters. I think I would always thought catapults, crawlers were overrated. I was never a big fan of crawlers. I had run a few of them in TTS to try out near the end, but near Grand Alliance Death, inspired by another individual. But harvesters are great. I love me some harvesters. They're a little flimsy when it comes to attacks, but not when it comes to attacks. They're actually great when it comes to attacks. They're flimsy when it comes to survivability, which is a little bit of a challenge there. Yeah, but I'm also taking a look here. Yep. Looks like we got the good donate bot. It is active. It is up. It is running. If you guys want, we can talk about anything, chat gang. We are here to please you. We got plague crawlers here talking about Maggotkin 3.0. Nurgle in 3.0 is good. If you like fucking around with plague claws, that is cool. But if you're gonna run Maggotkin and Nurgle, do think of and consider Sloppity Bile Piper. Oh my god, is that guy? Not only does it have the best name, Sloppity Bile Piper, like, but the mechanics it can have with not being able to really move in combat, not being able to really pile in, is great, especially if you can get more than one Sloppity Bile Piper kind of go in two different directions. It just makes something not be able to move. It is wonderful. Clader mentioned the Diachasm OBR models. I am a huge fan of the Diachasm OBR models. There are not a lot of Warhammer Underworld's warbands that are good, that are relevant to the game. You could argue that the Soulblight Gravelord one, the Crimson Court, is okay. It's not really, but it's something that exists. But oh my god, the OBR one is fantastic. It is Mortison keyword, but it is or Mortison Praetorian keyword, but it's really good. 190 points. You get a 6 wound character that's a wizard that hits pretty well, and 5 extra models. That's always good. Plague Bearers and a Sloppity. Yep. Rational Nihilist knows what's good. Yeah. Oh boy. The Norgal Warband was. Why was the Norgal Warband good? I was not really that impressed with it. If you can convince me, then I will take that. But Charles Fox, I am curious about your take on that one. I'm not a huge fan of any of the other ones. And I'll tell you, when it comes to death, those ones are just not great. The Feck one's not good. The the Death Rattle one, I just used half of them as Graveguard because I could easily just kind of swap them or make minor conversions. But a lot of the other ones, like the Seraphon one, was just not good. A lot of the Chaos ones, the Zinch one didn't really matter. Yeah, if you can convince me on the Nurgle one, I'd be more than happy to hear it. Yep. Just like he mentioned, the Sloppity does win. You're not an expert, but Beer and Pretzel's dad. Hey, Sloppity is real fun. And again, even if he wasn't good, right? He's got one of the best names of a single unit in AOS, just in general. It's such a good name. I love it a lot. Yeah, but right now, there's a lot to be said about 3.0. What he says, she's a cheap caster. The Blight Kings being bodyguards help her surviving when we're running all mortals. That's an issue running Maggotkin, is running all mortals. I kind of always feel like there should be one Guo, at least one Guo in a Nurgle list. What's the Feck meta in the moment? What's a solid list? Honestly, Glader, I'd like to help you out with that one. I feel like people are still getting their feet on the ground when it comes to a Feck list. Clearly, Gristlegore is not going to be the all be all. I've always consistently really enjoyed Blister Skin, just because of the extra moves and the way that the army can work, especially with flares involved. I think that there is something to be said about still running Terrorgeist. Terrorgeists are still just as terrifying as they were before. You can't spam as many mechanics at the same time anymore, like a 6s to hit causing mortal wounds plus extra damage, which is a little unfortunate, but it is still something that can you can still run maybe a couple of Terrorgeists and it can still be pretty good. Hey, we are talking about there was a question about what is an effect build that's good at the moment. I was trying to explain how I thought that Gristlegore may not be the proper way to go, but how consistently a lot of other individuals previous to 3.0 were running Blister Skin, and how I believe Blister Skin might still be the way to go. But it looks like Charles Fox is talking about our opinion of the top 5 factions in 3.0. That's a really hot take. It's so early.
You guys. Thank you so much, DJ. I know you guys got me. No, it's such a loaded take. Everyone is still trying to sort of like feel out their armies right now for like the hidden tech, finding their hero-based monsters are good, or if you happen to have like something like a Stonehorn Beast Rider, like your monster that isn't a liability because it does something else, or it's just so good that it's worth running it, even if it is a little bit of a liability, right? Everyone's still feeling it out. It's really difficult to like say anything definitive. I don't think we have a holistic perspective. I do think without saying 5 necessarily, but just speculatively, 5 that I think would be top, top 5, or like certainly contenders for a top 5, but you can get a granularity and like bumps them out right in and out. I put SBG probably like right in there. Like they're just getting into the top 5. I think you're going to just out of volume of interest. Death players are death players are death players. This is why Destruction and Death, we are homies. We are kindred spirits. Mm-hmm. Death players migrate. Like, why do you always see 10% representation of LON, 10% representation of Flesh Eater Courts, 10% representation of Ossiarch Bone Reapers? Because, like I said, like, our best army always consumes the souls and bones of our formerly best army, and the 10% of death players just go around migrating to whichever one of our factions, with a couple of exceptions, to, like, just play that army. Like, every Ossiarch Bone Reapers player right now has a viable Soulblight Gravelords army without buying a single box of sculpts. You might have to get some zombies. But, like, almost every Ossiarch Bone Reapers player I personally know that has played longer than the release of Ossiarch Bone Reapers has Soulblight Gravelords. Yeah. Every single one of them. They have an LON list that had, like, a zombie, like a Vlazda in it. They had, like, we had, Graveguard just waiting, you've probably got 40 skeletons laying around. Like, you've got the stuff. You had 10 Fenrisian wolves. Like, you had to pick up a Belladama. You use your old Vampire Lord conversion because you didn't really have a model before. Like, you had to convert something or, so this is a death player thing. We just kind of like, orc players tend to just like stick with orcs thick or thin. And part of the detriment of the orc player last edition after the new battle tome came out is the unwillingness to switch from their orc of choice to Big Wall. If Ironjaw's players were ride or die with Ironjaws and Bone Splitters were ride or die with Bone Splitters, and they're like big Wall, it was like a few pioneers like came out of their comfort zone to go meet in the middle and like form the Big Wall, right? So you watch this like sort of like I'm like, why isn't? And I know that like in the UK it was a little bit of a different scene, but in the US perspective, I'm like, why isn't there more Big Wall over here? Everyone knows it's a great army, right?
Dude, Big Wall is so good.
Vanilla sauce. So good. Vanilla sauce. I, as an IJ player only, I represent this. I mean, yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing: Ironjaws has some gimmicks that are.
They're still no. I mean, they still have they still Vin Diesel you, where they're like, he was in my face, I'm in your face, like, and then they just are, and then they become meme. Like, they still do that. They can still.
Wow, no family meme.
No, I went old school Vin Diesel meme. I went old school. I'm for the I'm in your face, like the OG Vin Diesel is like, and then like it would be Paul Walker's. It would be Vin Diesel's face on Paul Walker's face. Yeah. Boomer memes, dot the episode or dot the show. Yeah, so, so death players that 10% migrates. We just keep playing death, but we play because death has some tryhards. We keep wanting to play death because we love it, and we just want an excuse to play all of the awesome death that we love at all times. So we're very passionate player base, and that's why you always just see this 10% representation on whatever our best death happens to be at the time. It makes best death competitions really stiff. To win best death,
kind of,
you gotta beat out 10% of the meta for that versus on that, and then you've got your 2, 3 to 5% on the hardcore ride or die Night Haunt, the hardcore ride or die Feck, right? And they're still rolling around. But
absolutely.
And you're the hardcore Night Haunt, but you also have OBR and Soulblight Gravelords. So I think you're also represented. I'm representative of this. Brendan's representative of this. Most death players I personally know are representative of this. The only thing is
death players.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think that you were fully right a little earlier before you bounced for a minute. Grand Alliance death, Grand Alliance destruction. There's always that kind of dichotomy between the two.
We are yin and yang.
I kept on exactly. When you were thinking of that, I was thinking of the Lord of the Rings meme. I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm gonna lose sitting next to a destruction player. How about sitting next to a friend?
Yeah. How about lose sitting next to a friend and and then you do the handshake from Predator, you son of a bitch. and then a mountain explosion, like a mountain explodes behind you as you sit next to the destruction player. Like we get it.
Oh.
Like destruction and death only kind of show up when it serves the story, and then we eventually take a backseat to the main show, which is chaos versus order, and like that is fine. That allows us to be more interesting. I think we certainly have we have the most fun. Yeah, but corn players are kind of like destruction players trapped in a chaos body. So like you get a pass. Like corn and Beasts of Chaos players get the death and destruction. Like we have like bridges into like BOC land and corn land because like again under a different sun I was a Slaves to Darkness player. Like in a different life I played.
I see that.
You know, like I just it's the heavy metal lifestyle, yo. Like but no.
Wait, hold on. Real quick. Question for you.
Yes, sir.
You don't own any armies that aren't death.
That's not true.
Right?
No,
That's not true. What do you own?
I own Slanesh and Beasts of Chaos as well.
Okay, you need to start a Slaves of Darkness army.
I call them. Go ahead.
When I think heavy metal, I feel like you would be able to create a fantastic.
Oh yeah, there's just Deathclock the army.
inspired.
Oh yeah, it's just I'm just making Deathclock like my general's name is just Nathan Explosion. Like I don't whatever it is, like if it's whoever it happens, if it's Archeon, it's just I'm going to get a dude in jeans and a t-shirt with like a sword that is also a guitar or a sword that is also a microphone stand, and he's like holding the reins for Durgar, and like he's just like standing up there with like just like what rhymes with murder, mermaid, murder, like just
You need the endless spell that does a bunch of mortal wounds. You need to do that one and have it called Sprinkles the Death Dealer.
Yeah.
Like the hurricane.
Yeah.
Sprinkles the Death Dealer.
Yes. Yeah, or like you're like Musta Crackish or whatever. It's just like like having like a bloodthirster in the army or a corn prince. Musta Crack, like named Musta Crackish. You're like Musta Crackish, Musta. Crackish, and it's just like it's so good. Yeah, no, Slaves of Darkness are rad, man. Like nothing but props for them. So that 10%, I think Soulblight Gravelords just out of sheer, you're gonna see like 10% of the meta that's SBG. The only thing I see throwing that off a little bit, and it might be 8%, but like rounding up, I'm gonna say like above 6%. I think 7, 8, 9%, like right in that 7, 8, 9, like easily representation of like Soulblight Gravelords. I go closer to 8 though. I think it's go closer to 10. I think it's you're just gonna see that. Feck players do got game, but I'm like looking amongst each other. I think SBG beats Feck in the like you're looking at that. Maybe you don't get paired in the straight death off, but like you're looking at the table next to you and you've got a Feck player versus like some Gargants or something, and you're sitting there versus some Tzeentch or whatever it is. Like I like my chances. Tzeentch still. Sorry everybody, it's a reality. Yeah. Tzeentch is still in the top 5. I know, sucks. They're still there.
But the problem. So real quick, that's a hot take too.
You think so?
Like,
you think so?
Well, I think that there's an issue to be had with people not understanding how horrors work. Right?
Brutal Legend. Eddie Riggs, even better. Keep going. Sorry.
Horrors are great. Horrors are fantastic. We all know that, right? They slap. But there's an issue with, and like I don't mean to accidentally maybe start something here, but rally and horrors. That is a fantastic question.
It's TO pack to TO pack is having to solve it, is what we're seeing right now. Is like all the TO packs I've been reading so far, and I haven't by all means read them all, but I've read a couple international ones. I think I read an Oz one. Like all of them so far have been handling it kind of like the correct way, which is on like a model to model basis. You don't rally back the whole kit and caboodle. It's just you go down the line of what type of, and you only get back that type thing. And I'm like, that seems logical. The thing is like you're looking at like Archeon is a force, and Archeon Tzeentch does work, and like in this edition more than anything. And you've got even Archeon Corn does work. And so like which one do I say if I'm going to try to limit myself to kind of like one per GA and then 2 from, and then a couple from a couple 2 tree, as we say in the Midwest, from picking extra from either Chaos or picking extra from order, because you just have representation of order. So I think I mean, flip a coin, Tzeentch or Khorne, and specifically Archeon Khorne, but I think Tzeentch has more range than needing
Khorne's the
Archeon.
best.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Archeon in a Khorne is the best for Archeon,
Okay.
but for the list, Tzeentch, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
like Tzeentch, you don't need Archeon to make a competitive build in there. I don't think. I see people doing some like cheeky stuff with like Kairos Archeon, and I'm like, I don't think you need it. Like, I don't think you need it. But
Archeon and Kairos is really strong, and it's one of those mechanics where it's like, what kind of game do you want to have with your opponent, right? Like, I try my best to just like play kind of like front and center, right?
We got 2 minutes left on the block. Last 2 minutes to go ahead and get in for that full table worth of terrain printed off by CrazyHorse here in chat. If you win, I will contact CrazyHorse with who the winner is, and get your email address to them, and you'll. No, go on. You were saying something.
I think that Archeon is just really strong with Kairos, and it's one of those things where it's like in Age of Sigmar there aren't a lot of metal lists like we had talked about a little earlier. Right now I've seen a lot of lists that pseudo kind of resemble the metal idea of a medalist with chaos, but it is that Kairos Archeon combo, and it's got a lot of things that benefit it, but it's also got a lot of things that hurt it, especially against like certain order armies. Can kind of, I don't want to say invalidate it, but really like
you can neutralize like Kairos one turn and then pretty much just like ignore Archeon to focus on the rest of the army and the rest, and you're
Sons of Behemoth.
Yeah,
Sons of Behemoth. They can shit on that list very easily.
Yeah,
it's a little bit finessey. It's not an obvious win, but if they play careful, they should win.
And I'm gonna put Sons of Behemoth. So like I'm gonna put like Khorne, specifically Khorne Archeon, and then Tzeentch, right? Like Slash as like, I don't know. I need a little bit more. I'm gonna cheat a little bit and give me those two armies, but as one pick unless I need to put, So I'm gonna go there because again, tech, let it develop a little bit. Sons of Behemoth are there right now, just cause the gatekeeping status. They might not go 5-0 and win every single tournament, yada yada yada. But you're just gonna have to beat them on. You're just gonna have to know. You're gonna be playing them day 2. You're just gonna have to beat them day 2. Like there's no. I don't think there's any way around it. They're a popular army. Like the minute they made the Mega Gargant's battle line, like it was like that was the boom. Like it's like ring the gavel. They're like
absolutely
they're a gatekeeper now, and like they're a litmus test army. Like you must be this to override 3.0. Yeah. So I think so that's my 3 so far. SBG because volumetrically and Death always has one best. Some cheaty take on Khorne and Tzeentch. Which that leaves me 2 order armies, right?
Wait, is that the 5? Is that your 5?
No, I said Soulblight Gravelords, SOB, cheaty take with Khorne Tzeentch, so that's 3. I'm doing 3. I'm combining them, and then Sons of Behemoth is 4. So I have 1, don't I? I have 1 left. Is that what it is?
Yeah. One more.
I have one more. So I have 1 order list to pick. 1 order army. Cities does work, but Cities skews. I don't think I put it firmly top 5 because it's skew is hard RPS. It is the best of times. Feast or famine. DOK.
Is that your 5th?
I think DOK might be my 5th right now, but I feel like it's too early on DOK. I think people are bedazzled a little bit with Marathi and Shooty Snakes. I think they're like, yeah, this is awesome because like people haven't learned to play around the Unleash Hell the way they need to yet. But as we get the counter measures for it, I think you're going to see. Like I know how to deal with snakes with all my armies. So
yeah.
So it's like but like I don't know if that stuff's in the water level yet. I'm struggling with one order army to bind them all type thing.
Well, I do have my top 5.
Okay, give me your top 5, and then I'm gonna get the.
So my problem is it's too early in the meta for me to give an order for the top 5.
Yeah.
I think that there are the 5 that I think are going to be the takeaways, right? I think that it is one of them is going to be Chaos and Tzeentch for now. just Archeon and Zinch. I do identify the fact that Khorne and Zinch is really strong, but I think that more people are going to probably bring the one with horrors. And the problem with the Khorne one is that Archeon is terrifying. The rest of the army isn't,
Yeah.
which is a bit of an issue.
Yeah, it's just the Archeon show.
So I think it's going to be that.
Yeah.
I think for order, it's still going to be, and I hate to say this, I absolutely hate to say this, but Seraphon is still fantastic.
Okay.
In Pacific Northwest, there are quite a few Seraphon players that are very, very good. One of them, Nicholas B. in Idaho. He is a fantastic player. He's a gentleman. He's polite. He's nice. He's sweet. He is a treat. He is a dream. He also will kick the shit out of you, right? Like he will do that and be one of the most polite people I have ever met on the planet. And he will play a game and be like, people don't know how to play Seraphon. I do. And I'm like, hot take, but I'll take it. Like, it is true. And Seraphon
I agree.
Be very, 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 very strong, especially Draco Tail, especially now, since you don't necessarily need to rely on Croak. I think that Soulblight Gravelords is in that top 5 as well. Again, this is in no order. Soulblight Gravelords, because it is very much all comers. There's nothing that's too overpowered. There's nothing that is too absolutely weak, barring a few specific war scrolls. Nothing is bad. Nothing is OP. It's kind of a middle thing, so you can easily slip into where you need to be. Because of what we talked about way earlier in this, where we were talking about kind of like skewed lists, right? Like Soulblight Gravelords will kind of screw with skew lists very easily.
It's a toolbox. Toolbox is designed to mess with skew. That's how Toolbox makes its money. Is they're like, I got an answer for this, and they just open up the toolbox. They're like, I got an answer for this. I got an answer for this. I got an answer for this, and then it comes down to the pilot. The pilot has to know what tools do what jobs, and if you do so that's Toolbox armies have like a little bit of a higher skill. They have a higher skill curve, but like when you get into that curve. And skilled pilots like tool armies just for that reason. So yeah, there's.
I agree. Final two though, I do like when it comes to destruction. I like Big Wah. That is fantastic because not only are Cruel Boys a part of Big Wah, but like over the summer I screwed around a little bit with Big Wah here and there, and I had like a lot of fun. I have a twin brother, and I'm trying to get him into Age of Sigmar.
The truest, noblest of causes, getting somebody else to come play our sweet game.
And we've been trying, like Jeremy donated quite a few of his like art boys and stuff like that to him, and I'm trying to get him into Big Wah. And then on top of that, like there's a guy, another individual in Pacific Northwest, really, really fantastic human being, Matthew K. He runs a lot of events in the Pacific Northwest. He is part of Jack's crew, and it is. I know he's coming up next, but he has run Big Wah before, and like his list was like, I saw that and I was like, oh my god, this is the best Big Wah list that I've ever seen, because it was no monsters and it was all just like Ard Boys and Ward Chantas and stuff like that.
No monsters, all gas. Like
exactly. That was in the previous. It was like before 3.0, so like monsters have a big benefit now. But even then, I was like, damn, this shit is great, and he did great with it. So I think that Big Wah, especially now with added Cruel Boys, is going to be fantastic. And then I hate to go back to Destruction again, but the fifth and final one, again, also preemptive for 3.0, is Stormcast Eternals. I played against Stormcast recently.
Really?
With like some of the more,
I mean, that's such an early judgment call on both Big Wah and Stormcast. Which is why I'm like, I feel like I'm cheating, because I'm like, I'd be like, too early to tell. Like, Big Wah has been so consistently good the whole time. Like that basically when that book came out, and I'm just like, Big Wah is very good. Like look at this army, because it's got like the destruction like knockout punch power, but then it had the toolbox going on, which was like, yo, this is anyway. Go on. But like right now, you're confident that the rules are going to come out and not mess it up, huh?
I think that Stormcast are going to be really strong because they're still going to have that mechanic of deep striking, right? And like, I see Jack in the chat, right? Limited Rumlords are terrifying, right? Like 50 fucking Sentinels will just delete stuff.
Let's get some overlap. Come on, re-rolling one screw. You can hop in for this. They're overlap. Come on, get in here. Don't let them just call you out like this. Get in here.
No. I'm not calling them out. 50 Sentinels have given me the feel bads on more than one occasion. But the deep striking mechanics can kind of screw with Sentinels, right? And on top of that, like I've had to face Annihilators recently. The Vindicators are great. Units of 10 Vindicators, since they count as battle line as well. They are pricey, but oh boy, are Vindicators good. And like, there's all these mechanics, and then there's the Warhammer community article recently about how it's like, you know, OBSEC doesn't exist, or Objective Secure doesn't exist in Age of Sigmar, but like, oh boy, are you going to be able to count as 3 models per model in Stormcast Eternals list? That is very strong. So you get like 10 of those, 10 Vindicators that can kind of hit well, cost some mortal wound generation.
Go Splex has won the table terrain.
Oh,
Go Splex, congratulations. Let me get that written down.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, what's up? What's up? How's it going, everybody?
Oh, I gotta go change my shirt now. We're wearing the same outfit.
What's up, Alex G?
Dude, I miss you. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has. It's been a long time. We were supposed to go to Atlantic City. Alex backed out on that last minute. Then we were supposed to go to Idaho. I backed out on that last minute. So we're going to get together soon.
I'm going to Old Town Throwdown.
Oh, that's on the 14th, right?
Yeah. Are you going? Jeremy told me you might.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking into it. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go to that one. I am looking at SoCal Open, though. I might go to that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
If you go, you have to dress up, because I was just talking about how I'm going to dress up in a Halloween costume. So you got to try to dress up in a costume. Doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
Go get some terrain. There you go.
I'm saying here that I'm going to go to SoCal Open, and I will dress up.
Okay, right on. I'll hold you to that. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Oh, and Mr. Beth, do not forget, like, if you ever want to go to a West Coast event, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help host you and dress up. If you can dress up as this Nagash outfit you talked about earlier.
Oh, dude, could we do like friendo, like team cosplay, some sort of like we're different Mortarks or something, or like I'm Catacross, you're the codpiece, like. I said I'm Catacross, you dress up as the Catacross codpiece, like, or vice versa.
I still like the Vlad Isabella. I really just want to dress up as Isabella.
You want to? Okay, we'll do Vlad Isabella. If I make it out West Coast, maybe not 2022, because I have like a upward limit on things. But 2023, Vlad Isabella cosplay West Coast. Let's go. What tournament should I be looking for on the West Coast? Like, which is the one? What's the like?
Any with a doubles event. Any with it, like LVO has a doubles event this year. SoCal Open is actually going to have a doubles event. So like, Jack, if you want to, right, we can make that happen.
Yeah.
I've always talked to from Party at the Old Points originally for LVO 2020 before it didn't, or 2021 before it didn't happen. We were going to do me and one of the hosts from Party at the All Points, Dayton. We were going to do something where he was going to be Hulk Hogan and I was going to be Randy Savage.
Ooh, what were they called? The superpowers. The superpowers. Yeah.
It didn't work out, obviously, but like I have a getup ready for that.
The handshake Macho Man does in that promo when they're like. When he feels the power as they like shake hands. Oh, Macho Man. Yeah. Nobody did as much cocaine or cut as great of promos as him in that era. Not a single person. Like,
not gonna lie.
Sorry.
Right now,
the Mega Powers. My bad. Yeah. The Mega Powers. Sorry. They were even bigger than Superpowers. The Mega Powers.
I can't tell you how much I feel when he goes like, "Oh, I'm in a position that I'd not like to be in, but here I am." Like, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
In Age of Sigmar sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, the cream of the crop was the most famous promo of all time. The cream of the crop was a bet. They're like, you can't get this over in a promo. They're just like, they used to just bet him he couldn't do shit in a promo, and then he would just go out there and do it.